Ideas and projects related to growing real food in urban areas are becoming more popular. Activists, educators, journalists, entrepreneurs, academics, politicians, and yes, even mega corporations are starting to talk seriously about bringing small-scale organic food production back into cities. Now, growing food in the city is not a new idea, but it's one that, as food becomes more distant and more toxic, has become highly relevant. The increasing attention on urban agriculture is exciting because I'm convinced that growing healthy food in cities and suburbs can help solve a number of related problems. But how do you go from the idea that urban agriculture or urban gardening has positive impacts to actually growing food in the city so the supposed impacts are realized? This video is intended to help answer that question. Based on a year and a half of investigating urban agriculture through volunteering on urban farms around the country, interviewing urban growers, starting my own urban agriculture company, reading the literature from many fields, and just thinking incredibly deeply about urban agriculture, I've come up with 11 recommendations for creating lasting and impactful urban farming projects. The list that follows is not meant to be exhaustive, but it's a good place to start. Here we go. First off, establish clear and focused goals and a way of evaluating those goals. Without measurable goals, an urban farming project can't know if it's actually taking steps towards realizing its purpose for existence. Establishing clear and focused goals also makes finite inputs of time and money and other resources go a lot further. From personal experience, I know that without metrics, you can work tirelessly without actually accomplishing that much. You should be able to say something like, with this dollar amount, I've been able to do blank. And it should go without saying that if you're running an urban farming or gardening enterprise, the financial bottom line is the most important metric to pay attention to. Like it or not, all the social and environmental impacts an enterprise is supposed to make slow way down once the money stops flowing. Second, take the time to think your project through in advance in a comprehensive but simple way. Urban gardening or urban agriculture can mean many different things, and there's no easily replicable model. Sensible food production is definitely place-based. But it's helpful to comprehend the entirety of an urban farming initiative by using organized brainstorming tools like the business model canvas. So what is the value that you're offering your clients or the intended audience? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Who are you trying to help out? How are you going to help them out? What's your relationship with those people? How are you going to make money? What resources do you need to carry out your key activities? Who's going to help you with it? And what values are going to guide your growth? There's a lot more to running an organization than just planting seeds, pulling weeds. Third, learn to work the system as hard as you possibly can. Urban agriculture is unfamiliar to many people, and it's difficult to monetize the benefits. How do you put a value on building neighborhood cohesion or inspiring low-income families to eat healthy food? So in order to make urban agriculture viable, you need to participate in a range of economies. Resources are definitely out there, but they're not always available in cash form. Perhaps there's an opportunity to get AmeriCorps volunteers to help you. Or maybe you can add value to waste, like pallets or organic matter to be turned into compost. Maybe you can come up with a service that people are willing to pay for. Fourth, learn to capture value from the immense productivity of natural economies. A Japanese farmer and philosopher named Masanobu Fukuoka once said, "The fertility of nature is beyond the imagination's reach." For instance, if you plant one amaranth seed, you can, in theory, yield 250,000 amaranth seeds. That's an incredible return on investment. Similarly, you can get thousands of gallons of water from a single storm falling on a single roof. Harvest rain. If you pile food scraps with shredded paper and dry leaves, you can get compost that makes food grow really well. Let the microbes break down the waste so your soil, and thus your plants, are healthy. Fifth, build on existing assets. There's no need to reinvent wheels. There is way too much work around urban revitalization or agricultural reform for one individual or one organization to successfully take on alone. To maximize your impact and reduce the amount of time and money needed to start an urban agricultural enterprise, partner with stable groups who are already good at what you don't want to be good at. Most communities, even ones without much money, have assets and organizations to build on. Find an important niche or join an existing organization. Number 6, build strong relationships and partnerships. When starting a project, the importance of having a dedicated and diverse team can't be overstated. A couple of people can really accomplish great things. Also, look for organizations who have overlapping missions that could benefit from partnering with you. Maybe you could benefit from having a fiscal sponsor or working with a church that owns land. And maybe those organizations could benefit from having a garden. Make sure both parties have compatible interests. Now, this might sound obvious, but the people an urban farming enterprise intends to serve have to be supportive of it. It's vitally important to engage the community, even if that means knocking on every door in the surrounding area. On the other hand, without support from the top, urban agriculture's impact is severely constrained, be it zoning, resource allocation, or just actively promoting urban agriculture. Policymakers are critical for making urban agriculture more widespread. 7th, start where the people are. Entrepreneurs and activists, myself included, can get obsessed with their own ideas. And unless you're offering something that people truly want, or can be made to want, your idea is almost useless. The urban agriculture idea you start with should be reconfigured over time so that it is consistent with what people want or need. 8. Start small. Having a grand, long-term vision is normal, and it can also help guide future growth, but growing too big, too quickly is a recipe for disaster. I've installed a couple edible gardens that failed miserably because they were just too big for new gardeners to comfortably steward. I've also tried to do too many things at once and done none of them well at all. Small mistakes serve as learning experiences to guide future growth, but big mistakes can jeopardize the reputation of your organization or the sustainability of a project. 9. Make sure you compost and constantly build soil fertility. The success of a project depends on soil fertility because growing food in healthy soil mitigates the chance of crop failure. As soon as your soil becomes degraded, growing food becomes immensely challenging and expensive. And not just that, for there to be healthy people, you need healthy soil. Good soil gives life to healthy plants, which gives life to healthy animals, which, together with the plants, nourish people. Cities are actually great places to generate compost because they produce enormous amounts of organic waste in a relatively small, confined area. So if you round all that organic matter up and you compost it, you can literally make millions of tons of fertile soil to grow healthy food in. 10. Engage the youth. Even if youth engagement isn't the chief goal of an urban farming enterprise, it's still really important to consider because 1. Kids influence parents and teachers. Also, if you have the kids' support, it's easier to get support from the entire community. And kids can destroy crops if they want. So if you have their respect, the likelihood of crop disaster is reduced. And most importantly, kids are impressionable and they can be turned on to living healthy, more sustainable lifestyles at a young age. I've gotten kids who have never eaten a vegetable and are repulsed by vegetables to eat vegetables because they planted the seed and they tended to it and they harvested the fruit. Number 11, we're almost done. Make sure that you're place-based. Focus on location, location, and location. Successful urban farming groups and projects share common practices, yes, but no city has identical policies, climates, populations, cultures, economies, etc. Learning from projects in other cities is critical, but urban agriculture requires deep and intimate knowledge of a place. And that's it. I hope this was helpful. Remember, this list is not meant to be exhaustive, but it does come from researching urban farms by talking to people who have successfully done it and by learning from a number of mistakes that I've made myself.